So Marcello, what is body percussion?
Yeah, body percussion is real serious activity, musical activity, and usually body percussion is used for performance. And we have so many body percussion group. What instead we are going to do with body percussion is we are using body percussion as a tool. Actually, we can call body percussion therapy if we consider body percussion system to make a different kind of reaction in the people that are working. Usually body percussion activity learn and teach in body percussion some movements, sometimes really hard, really difficult for coordination, and they work for a long time in order to learn that movement, that pattern, that rhythmical pattern. What instead we are going to do exactly the opposite. I start with some movements, and in the moment that the audience started to be right, I needed to change. And the reason is that my purpose is make a reaction for coordination. So what we did, I and my Italian team, is we started to understand what happened when we work with mirror neurons, the neurons deputed for copy the movements. And we started to use that one in different way. I mean, sometimes my movement must be copied from the audience. Sometimes I ask the audience, do exactly the opposite. It means when I clap the hands, they have to clap the leg, and when I am down, they have to go up. In this way, I am sure that they perfected, they had perfected reaction of my proposal. That means if I'm down, they must go up. If I am up, they must go down. In that moment, I am asking mirror neurons, please tell me what's going to happen, and I have to make the difference on my reaction. So body percussion from this point of view became a tool. So we don't have to prepare a performance. We have to make people reactive on my actions. And in order to do all this kind of activity, other difference is many times body percussion is used without music, just because the real instrument is our body. In this situation, I use so many kind of different music. Means I use classic music, jazz music, folk music, Irish music. And in this way, doesn't matter what you like, which is your favorite one, but sure, your reaction is every time is different, because as we know, each instrument touches different parts of our brain, and our brain reaction is differently on jazz or classical music. So I overcome the preference with music, and I use my movement on the music. In this way, I use the energy of the sound wave. Sound wave is actually the key that can open my body reaction. I always see when all of us, when we listen to music, we can tap the feet. And there is really an issue that somebody's out of the beat. Can happen for a while, then on the beat again. So I am using this kind of physical reaction in order to make the coordination stronger and deeper. Other question?
Can you show us something?
That's not fair. Okay.
We want to see you in action.
Yes, alone is not easy. Okay. I have two steps, and maybe today we can see just one. We can have body percussion, sit on the chair with only some movements with legs. Can you see? Yes. Yeah. What happened, I start with easy movements and ask to copy, and then I started to do with two hands, and then I start to do something that is not really, really easy, but for me, there is only one idea. If you make mistake, it's not a mistake. When I start to do double cross, of course, they needed to think about this. And if I jump double cross up and down, it's not easy for them, of course. What I always explain my participant is, in the moment that you feel that you are making a mistake, means you are conscious of my proposal and your reaction. And you can imagine that when we are in front of Alzheimer people, or Parkinson, or dementia, many kinds of dementia, one of the problem is the memory. And one of the first memory that we're gonna lose is the short memory. And sometimes remember the same movements. When I come back on the same movement and they are right, I won. And the idea is that they don't have to be right for 20 minutes. They have to be right for short time. So I am going to work with the short memory and long memory. Then I start to use down feet, not down feet, we don't have up feet, feet and leg and clap. And then I started to give them the idea of the circle from feet, leg, and then clap, shoulder. So I make a movement and I give them the idea of a circle of movements. I ask them to have geometrical idea of a movement. So I work with all this kind of perception, body, geometrical idea of the movements, different sounds from clap, leg, chest, and sometimes we add this kind of movements, and I mix all these kind of things. The other one is we have simple pattern when it's possible is 3, 5, 7, 9. And I use this kind of pattern to make a different kind of movement. Sometimes from 9 is also direction, because I ask, instead to step the feet on the same place, to go forward, go right, or left, or back. Not always is possible. We have to manage this kind of information. And the other thing that I do, I work against mirror neurons. Means I ask them to follow my voice. I ask them up, and they have to go up, and then I ask down, they have to go down. But when I ask them down, I'm working up. And then I ask them go up, but I'm working down. There is only one moment that we are really together, and is when I ask to cross on the chest. In this moment, I'm working against the mirror, means they have to follow the voice, and my movement became a disturbing in that moment. It's interferences activity. So what happened? They have to work, they have to think, they have to make a reaction, and all these kind of things. If we are lucky, we can understand better with music. All this kind of activity, when come with music, it's quite easier because they can feel the beat. If I ask them, I ask them up, 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 up. So you can imagine that is a conflict between my voice and my movements. In this way, means they have to make a selection. It's extremely hard for the brain to make this kind of a selection, in a special way if we are in front of some disease. But all this must be fun. Is what I ask my participants, don't be serious. It's extremely wonderful, maybe you will see, when they make mistake, they laugh. Also because I make a mistake with them. So the idea is enjoy it, but not in suffice idea of enjoy it. We don't have to forget that when we are happy or when we we are doing something in relaxing way, we are working with the dopamine. And dopamine is one of the hormones that is not enough, and we have a problem for the dopamine for Alzheimer, for many diseases. There is also for children with ADHD. We discovered that the dopamine is not enough. There are problems for production this kind of hormones. So what's going to happen? There is a stimulation about this point of view. So this is the activity that in a few minutes you will see with our participants. And what I ask you to note is the energy that there is. And that energy is positive energy when they feel that mistake is a best friends, is not enemies. And only if you have a best friends, you can ask best friends to go away and stay far from me, because mistake is part of our activity. And also because they know that my job is make them in trouble. So this is the biggest difference with the body percussion teacher. They work on one pattern and start to make that pattern really strong, really deep, automatic. But, well, I do exactly the opposite. They don't have to go in automatic activity, otherwise brain doesn't work enough. Enough? Something else?